gonna be so loud. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Can You Survive the Hunter's Moon? As you can see, I am seated here in Tribal Council, where in just a few moments, our final two will be taking these seats and getting to address the jury for the first time. They will be pleading their case in hopes of winning and becoming the next winner of Can You Survive for the Hunter's Moon. We have Culp and Melissa who will be entering in just a few moments. So get excited. This is the moment that we've been waiting for. It all comes down to this.
Final two, come on in.
Entering Tribal Council for the final time, we have Culp and Melissa.
Let's bring in the members of our jury. Bergen, Tyler, Brianna, Cam, Matt, Brian, Jazzy, Dave, and Taylor voted out at the last tribal council. Culp, Melissa, congratulations. You have made it as far as you can in this game. I hope you took the time that you had to think about how you got here and how you are going to convince these players to give you the title of Sole Survivor. Can you survive Hunter's Moon? Ready, jury?
We are ready.
All right. You will both get a closing statement. We will start with the jury. Take it away, guys.
All right. Bergen here. It's been a while, I'm sure, if you don't remember me. Mayor Ponderosa. The residents of my town have shared a lot of information with me. Just to let you know, we are all still very open. We want you to obviously fight hard in this final tribal council. Give us a lot of insight into your game, answer all the questions that we have, be open and transparent, and have a little fun along the way, right? So I have a question for both of you. I'm going to start with Culp, my day one, minute one, ride or die that I thought. Talk to me a little bit about your strategy with aligning with me through the beginning of the game, but then what was your plan once we got to the merge, and once you knew that my name was kind of out there, what did you do to try and deflect that, or were you okay losing me as a number at that point?
Sure. Part of what I felt coming into this game to establish myself early on, foundationally, was to make sure that there was comfortability within whatever tribe I was on. And in order to do that, I really had to understand who I was playing with. And fortunately, that involves a lot of understanding what people's personalities are like and understanding how I could best be an asset from a comfortability standpoint. And when I was paired with you early on, I felt that it was a really, really good connection in terms of how we balanced each other out. We work off laughter. We work off making people feel good. And for me, in the starting tribe of, uncertainty and really, really fast-moving elements to this game, having folks that can keep everybody grounded is an asset. And to me, that was you. And I really felt that aligning with you early on was not just best for, my mental stability in the game, but I really do feel like it benefited the both of us as we continued on throughout into the merge. I really do feel that you had my best interest even when I wasn't around, even when I was the last picked or not picked, so to speak, knowing that I truly did understand you through and through, and that it wasn't a malicious move on my part. It was simply me knowing that if anybody was capable, you probably thought I was. And that's simply because we had that understanding when we went and made fire that first night. So I know that there was trust there, and I know that there was good intention behind you doing that. When we did get to the merge, I really did feel that at that point, I wanted to start telling my story and working on the things that I thought maybe I fell short on previously that kept me from winning games, and really take a chance on myself. if the theme of this game is being a predator, I really wanted to take risks and, risk it for the biscuit, as they say. I think that is what sets real strong predatorial players apart. And for me, the idea of letting go of my number one at that point probably would have never happened. But capitalizing on the fact that some folks were saying your name, I felt, this is the time for me to turn the dial and play that game that I want to see if I can play for myself. So I was able to work with that. And quite frankly, I think if anybody understood what that meant long term, it was going to be you, because I know you and I have that connection, ability to understand long term how that could benefit. But that was the start of me incrementally playing for the longevity of my game.
You're definitely the straight me. Miss Paula Abdul, in one of our earlier conversations at the merge, you came up to me and said, I like to play a snake game. I think you like to play a snake game, Bergen. So my question to you is, what was your snakiest move?
Okay, so one of my snakiest moves, I had two of them. Definitely when, sorry, Fern, but when I got Fern out, I had to convince Fern to not play their idol. And I had to do it flawlessly from start to finish, because Fern looked at me as her number one on that tribe, or their number one on that tribe. And I held it together that whole scramble. I gave them good points why we should vote the way we were supposed to vote. And I gave her good points going forward in the game why this vote would be our good vote. Our second one was actually at your vote. You really were not my target. You were everybody else's target, and I didn't know how to deflect that. That extra Brianna vote was me, because I thought maybe if you played your two extra votes and I voted the way I told you I was going to vote, that we could maybe do something to flip it off of you. But that was my sneakiest move, because that vote was talked about all the way through the game. And every single time anyone asked me, I told them I voted you.
I am very impressed with both of your games. I'm so excited. I am not a bitter juror, so I am so excited to listen to the rest of the answers. I'm going to pass it on to Brian, but best of luck.
Thank you, Bergen.
You too.
Congratulations. Here we go.
As someone who was grossly mislabeled the villain of the season, I think something that I would struggle with was jury management. So I'd just like to take a beat from you and how you guys think you manage your jury. And to do so, I think what I'd like to have you guys do is close both of your eyes and stick out a thumb in front of you. And when I say the name of a jury member, you'll each point to either yourself or over to your opponent, just as to who you think, as of right now, that person would be leaning to vote for as the winner of this season. So if you guys could both close your eyes, and then I'll start with Bergen, Tyler, Brianna, Cam, Matt, Brian, Jazzy, Dave, Taylor. All right, thank you guys.
Hi. How you guys doing? Am I clear? All right. So, as a very genuine, authentic rookie of the game, pure rookie, when a rookie comes into the game, someone like me, do you look at them as a vote, as an alliance, as someone easily to manipulate? What was your perspective as having someone like me come into the game, and how you could use me in the ways for your strategy? Yeah, sure. It's for both of you.
Okay. Again, part of what I wanted to accomplish in this game was trying to make inroads and do things that I typically would not do in a game. And for me, that involved sort of firing that first shot, making that first move to be strategic, form an alliance, not do as much listening. And for me, that came during the Tanagram competition since we had the time. Realistically, going back and forth and having that ability to connect with you independently on the run back and forth, I was telling you, I thought you and I were pretty tight together as well. And in that moment, I was able to get from you the same feeling because I saw in you a practicality of what was in front of you, a realism of who it is you are and how you view other people. We had a lot of time to sort of talk to each other before that challenge. And even from that moment, you were very genuine. And I always value that in somebody that I want to work alongside. Being able to tie that to somebody like Bergen as well, we were able to create that relationship early on. So from the get-go, it was the three of us until it couldn't be the three of us. And I stuck with that, and I wanted to make sure that that relationship was something that I had a hand in creating early on. And quite frankly, I do think that even apart, we were strong and we kept each other really, really informed along the way because of that first initial interaction. So for me, you were always viewed as an asset until I had to make that move and advocate for you to be gone as well, because that put me in a position where I could be, the lamb being led to slaughter and utilized as necessary, coming off of, not being picked and all sorts of poo-poo type of environments.
And then for you, Melissa?
So, to answer your question first, I will say this every time I enter another game. I don't really look at people at their status level of how many LRGs they've played. Are they a rookie? Have they won LRGs? That's not really something that I go into a game looking for and looking to target, looking to manipulate, looking to um, make the benefit for myself. I really go into these games and I find people I can bounce ideas off of and they're bouncing them back to me. Now, if you're a rookie and I'm bouncing ideas off of you and they're not bouncing back to me, I probably would utilize you as a vote for a good while or as long as I can. In our case, if me and you got together a little bit earlier, I feel like you are well beyond a rookie. You are very well spoken. You knew what you were doing, and you had a very accurate read. And I didn't even get to you until merge. So I think putting the rookie label on anybody and then having someone like you come into a game would be doing myself a disservice. So that's like a rounded answer for all of it.
Thank you. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Hello. Congratulations. Both of you guys played great games, and I'm excited to vote for one of you. So, in this game, everyone comes in and throughout wants to be perceived in a certain way that benefits them to get them to the end. How did both of you control your perceptions and craft a narrative for your game, and how did that change as you went along?
For me to go first?
Yeah, sure. Or either way.
So coming into this game, I had set a few goals for myself. I have played 2 other games before. I made mistakes in both of them, and I saw there was a lot of room for me to grow. And coming into this game, one of the bigger things for me that I knew is making big moves makes you a target very quickly. I played so under the radar this whole game that I was very easily undetected. What I did for most of the game is I was a shark, bobbing and weaving, but was still able to keep my fin above water. I planted at merge when it was a bloodbath and the big dogs were going against each other. I sprinkled little seeds of deception all over the field to make other people look way more threatening than myself. That was the only way with this big of a cast, this big of players of a cast, that I felt I was going to be able to get myself to the end and really prove my case.
For me, coming into this game, I don't mean to, sound very similar, but it is true. I have played 2 games before. I have made mistakes. I have come this close to, being the sole survivor too. And a part of some of those flaws involved me being a little lighthearted, a little too lighthearted. or a little less aggressive at times. So for me, I wanted to make sure that for myself, I was telling a rolling story. I don't think every predator is born a predator. They start off small. They have to learn. They have to trip over themselves. They have to get beat up a few times to understand what they're capable of in the long term. So for me, always being that little guy, I always felt that I had to rise up to the occasion. So what I wanted to be able to do was incrementally make my game a little bit better, a little bit more threatening, but take the take the edge off when I needed to. There were times when I was not on the radar at all. And then there were times when, unfortunately, the color of my shirt made me an easy target and an easy option. But my ability to trust in the connections that I had, to be vulnerable when it took time to be vulnerable, when I needed to be aggressive, when it took time to be aggressive. There are many animals out there who will leave their mouth open and let animals walk into it undetected, and then they snap. That's what I tried to do in this game. Not everything is one speed. I don't drive stick, but I assume it's a little jerky along the way.
Great, thank you. Two very successful stories. So best of luck. You lost, but
Hi guys.
Hello.
Okay, kind of like Brian said before, jury management is a big part of this, right? It's what makes Survivor so special is that you actually vote out the people that then vote for you. So I want to hear both of your guys' gameplay for jury management, and specifically, why do you deserve my vote? How did you manage me when you both blindsided me?
Yeah, I'll take this one first.
Sure.
Sure. Um, I think there was a very clear early perception that you and Cameron were very, very tied to one another. And I think that proximity and always being linked to one another, walking with one another, talking with one another, was a clear sign that maybe you had aligned really, really definitively with Cameron. I think being able to utilize that, knowing that there was information that I was also able to uh, obtain from being at the proving grounds with who had idols at that time, Cameron having an idol, Fern having an idol, who was connected to who. You have, and I say this as part of your question, Cam was looked at as the golden god over there, from my understanding, and a lot of people flaunted to him for that reason. You included, from my understanding. So being able to look at you and work with you in a way that was able to appease Cam, to appease you, and make you feel assured that I truthfully do want to work with Cam in that moment, but be wary of the advantages that lie and know whether or not he's close to you in order to do that. So for you specifically, as soon as you had that idol identified and picked out and ran to the bathroom, like, it's being able to like identify when those clear red flags are there, but keep you safe and keep you comforted at that time. So before you had that idol, being able to let you know that I want to stay connected with you, that I want to stay connected with Cam, making you feel comfortable, knowing that that was not, you didn't have to worry about me at that point, and you didn't worry about me. And I know that I was a vote. I know you voted for me in that particular round, and I know that you were working to get me. You were working with everybody to get me. But that is why I felt that all of the connections I was able to make previously in making people feel comfortable allowed that security for me to unfortunately be what led to your downfall in that moment. Um, Coming into this game, one of the hardest things for me to have to do was lie straight to somebody's face. Um, and with you, it was very, very clear and hard and blatant because you asked me, "Are you going to vote my name?" I said no. "Do you promise?" I said yes. It is the tried and true survivor lie. And that wasn't easy for me. It was very hard for me because I really do feel like you have a good heart, and I wanted to be able to do it in the most respectable way I could in the spirit of the game.
So I want to start off to everybody before I answer this question that I did do quite a bit of lying and deceiving, but the connections that I made with every single one of you was genuine. That part was a genuine connection. I want to clear that up first. Secondly, to be completely transparent with you, jury management is very difficult for me, especially with the game style that I played this game. I did quite a bit of false truths and lies and making people feel comfortable so that when we get to the end, or we get to the vote, they don't do anything erratically. Some people will look at that and respect that. Some people will be hurt by that. I took that on the chin and knew that that was going to be the case. Um, as far as you and I go, I don't know if you're looking for that answer. I think once merge hit, and I was solid with you on Telos 2.0, but once merge hit, there was just, you didn't trust me, or you felt like you couldn't trust me, and I felt it made me feel uneasy. And then along with it, you kind of started to make it easy for me to make you look like a big threat. But as far as jury management goes, I just the connections I made were genuine. And I just hope that you guys will see the game that I played and respect it.
Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
Hello, friends.
Hi.
Long time no see. I got 2 questions. I'll start with you, Cole. I think as the jury, you had the biggest power in the game last round, having that final immunity. I think we're really curious to hear an honest interpretation of your decision making and why you brought Melissa to the final with you.
Absolutely. And I know on paper, for a lot of folks, it might not make a lot of sense. Those last couple of votes, a lot of rationale was made as to why not to vote Melissa out of the game when there was opportunity to. And quite frankly, it just ties back to, wanting to do something that I personally wanted to do, which was take a number 1 to the end. It's unconventional, it's atypical, but that's the type of person I am. That's the type of player I've always wanted to be. And at the end of the day, to me, in those moments, I feel like, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And up until that point, she and I had done a lot for one another. We informed one another of a lot that saved, each other multiple times. It helped craft decision making. It helped me work on perfect. For me, your vote was a personal one and not like in a vindictive kind of way. But I what?
I deserved it.
Something like that, being able to help me take care of some of my goals, for instance, respectfully speaking, I think is what ties me very close to Melissa as a number 1. And I know that going into a lot of final decision making, most people think, who do I have the best chance of beating at the end? And part of my jury management, to tie back into a little of Brianna's decisioning, is also taking into account where they're viewing, my opposition in the matter. I think there are a lot of ways Melissa and I are alike. I think maybe I am just more egotistical. I don't know what the word is, but I really do feel like, in the nature of what the theme of this season is, being a predator, really putting yourself out there and taking the biggest swing you can. That was part of my decision making, and I think I have enough in my back pocket to warrant pulling out ahead there.
Okay, amazing. I respect that. All right, Melissa. Yesterday morning, started day 4. You looked every single person here in the eyes and came up with some sort of final 3 with them. What I want to know is, at the beginning of that day, what truthfully was the final 3 that you wanted to move forward with? And if it wasn't the final 3 that you ended up with, what kind of went wrong and how did you adapt on that?
So final 3 was a hard one for me. It really, I have to be honest, if I said it, it was because I was trying to navigate my direction throughout the game. This particular post merge was a lot of voting block moves. I had a plan going into merge, but that plan didn't really work. My final three was definitely with Dave and Cole. That was the one that I meant the most. And but I wanted to keep my options open because I was willing to go to the final three with most of those people. I felt confident enough in the game that I played, and I wanted to make sure that I set myself up in the best way that I could. And I have to be, I mean, although I did lie and deceive, like in those moments, in those rounds of voting, I was being pretty transparent, definitely with you. Like, I feel like most people didn't want to work with you, and I wanted to work with you. And I made that very, very clear. And you probably knew the last round that I wasn't being so clear with you because I was so transparent with you up until that point. But Culp and Dave were my.
So why did Dave not end up here or end up in the final three?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Well, that at that point, when we got back from that vote, I mean, Dave kind of already reiterated it. I don't want to just keep throwing this over his head, but originally they both were like, "We'll go to fire," and I was fine with that. And then as the time went on, he was starting to feel uneasy about that. I was talking to Dave about it. I was really that was a tricky one for me. When it got to the four, plus Taylor being thrown in the mix, I mean, she was also a really good ally that kind of slid in after merge for me. And, you know, that vote was just hard. After talking things through with Dave, I started to see that it was probably better off for me to try to get to the end with Colt.
Okay.
For my game.
Perfect. Thank you both. Good luck.
Hello. I'm really proud of you both for being here. Oh, thank you. All right. So this question is for both of you, but it is geared a little bit more toward you, Cole, just because we had a less close relationship throughout the game.
Yeah.
What is one post-merge move that you made separate from each other that you can claim sole ownership of? And you can go first.
I think that a microcosm of how I played this game could be captured with Matt's vote out. And it's not like a thing that happened in the moment. It's something that developed on the new Cutler tribe right before we ended up merging. Being able to spend time with Matt, really understand where his head was, identify how he took in information as a person, and really connect with him on a straightforward, eye to eye kind of here's what it is level, allowed me to understand his proximity to Cam. Knowing that Cam was somebody later in the game that I was looking forward to linking up with, I wanted to make sure that in order to get to Cam, I had that opportunity to get with Matt very, very closely. That involved becoming very, very close with Dave. That involved informing Matt on every vote that was taking place, whether or not it was Tyler or Brianna or Cam himself, giving Matt that opportunity to trust in me to the point where I could say, Matt, you make the decision. Who do you want to go with here? And you know what? Matt decided to go with Cam that round. Wonderful. Didn't have to worry about it. But by the time it came around to Matt being out, that was when Matt was feeling very confident, I think. And I really do feel that my ability to sort of nurture that confidence along the way when he was throwing my name out really ended up saving me in the long run, because at the end of the day, I only saw his vote for me and everything else was sort of dogpiled his way. And I really feel that I put in a lot of work early on to make sure that something like that did not happen for me. So
Thank you.
So, my move, I've already kind of talked a little bit about it, and I don't want to just keep beating on you, Brianna, but my move didn't happen in one round. I was like planting the seeds leading up to the round, but I knew that if I painted her as a bigger target, I would kind of fall a little bit more in the shadows. If I could push for her to go, that would leave Cam and Taylor without a really close ally, and where would they turn? Hopefully to me. That's what I was hoping for. It did seem to kind of work that way. And I know that we all had to vote it out. Not one person had to vote it out, but I planted those little seeds every conversation I had, and I feel like I had a really big hand in that turn of events.
Awesome. Thank you. Good luck, both of you. Thank you.
Congratulations, final two. You got 9 people here that would give their left arm and leg to be sitting where you are. You guys have played awesome games. Easy question for you. You both talked about in previous games you made a mistake and you're trying to fix it. You guys have played phenomenal games, but looking back at the game, give me the biggest mistake you made in this game. Why don't you go first?
second guessing myself on the decision with you. I really didn't anticipate getting to that point and being so close that in a previous game where I had the opportunity to put myself in and make it to final tribal, it didn't do me a whole lot of good. And part of this, literally losing by 1 vote. Up until that point, I wanted to make sure that I was in control of that, win, lose, or draw. It was me thinking in the moment, and sometimes, humanity kicks in these games. I'm upset at myself a little bit for that reason, especially with you, because up until that point, it'd been nothing but straight shooting. I don't think our conversations lasted more than 10 seconds because that's how easy it was for us to communicate with one another. And I regret not going into that discussion with the same certainty I always had. Will it cost me a vote? I'm not sure, and that to me is a very, very regrettable part of my game.
Well, one of my biggest regrets is not writing pagong on that chalkboard. But I will live with that for the rest of my life, so don't worry, because that will hang over my head. But I have 2. I'll touch on this briefly, but I honestly think, Brian, I made a mistake in the beginning. I want to cry. Voting you out, because I think that, long term, he was a really good ally. I don't know how the game would have turned at that point, but I do regret that. Give me a second. And then Bergen, I wish I would have fought harder. I wish I would have had more conversations. I'm crying now, so just let it happen. But I wish I had more conversations with more people, because I think that we could have made that vote happen. I really do. But aside from that, Pagong is my.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Y'all miss me. Congratulations. You should be both very proud of where you are. Bree, we've made it through. So, my question to you, on the opposite of Dave, give me one moment in this game that you are very proud of. A moment that you're going to take away and just, be happy that you were able to be a part of it, do it. Doesn't have to be a move, just something that jumped out to you during this game.
My feet are a true gift, and I won 2 immunity necklaces with my feet. And honestly, and even though I found that idol in front of every single one of you, it still got me here. So I'm just really proud of myself. And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the game I played. And those are probably my shining moments.
I'm proud of the fact that even though it took a lot of fight within me to get to a point where I could be satisfied with myself and the decision making that I was making, I'm proud that the end game I envisioned at the start of Merge is the reality that I made it. It proves to me that I can fight for the decisions that I want to be made. I could put myself in vulnerable positions. I can make myself uncomfortable, have difficult conversations, and hopefully continue to develop real relationships that understand at the end of the day it's out of love, it's out of respect, and it's out of fun because I had the most fun anybody could possibly understand. Just a girthy amount of fun for the drama. So thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Jury, thank you so much for those questions. Final two. Congrats. Are you ready to vote? You are voting for.
No, not yet.
Oh, that's right. We're not
Well, too
ready yet.
bad because
Are you ready for your closing statements? Culp, let's start with you.
Thank you. I will keep it brief. Thank you, jury, for asking such pointed questions. I truly hope that you know how valuable each and every one of you were to me being here today, not just physically in this seat, but a more mature version of myself and realized version of myself. Um, I'm certainly not a young guy, but I am realizing that there are things about me that I want to make sure that I develop more strongly, that I am more assured of myself with, and I am just grateful for every one of you that allowed me to continue to build upon that for myself. I feel like I played a game that from start to finish was a story of somebody growing into a predator. And I really do feel that one of the biggest predators in this game is sitting right next to me. It is an honor to sit next to Melissa. She is a phenomenal player, a phenomenal ally, a phenomenal foe. She's everything all wrapped up in one. And I'm grateful to just be here with this group of people. And at the end of the day, I really do think that I have what it takes to be the ultimate predator here.
Yeah, so I feel I had a really good pulse on this game. I feel I had a really good pulse on myself and my relationships in this game. I played my heart out in the best way I could with amongst many predators. You did become prey, but you guys were all predators. Trust me, it wasn't easy. And two things. There has only been one female winner of Can You Survive? And I would love to be the second female winner that represents our season. And lastly, I'm gonna cry like crazy, but I'm just gonna get it out. But I played this game for my sister-in-law, who is fighting for through cancer right now. And I left everything I have out there for her. And I'm so proud of myself, regardless of how this turns out. Because this is like far more than I could have ever asked for. And I love you guys. I do. I really do. All of you, whether you love me or not. And I am thankful for this experience.
Players, thank you. Jury, you are voting for a winner. You want to see your names on this parchment. You have a very big decision to make. Bergen, we'll start with you.
All right, and away go the jurors to go ahead and vote for a winner, which means that we will be heading on over for a little special edition tea time. We're just going to chit chat about what we just heard, talk about their answers, and joining me for this fun tea time is Ale, who is our season 6 winner. He just won Can You Survive Tides of War over the summer. So he and I are just gonna listen to each other, chat with each other and go over everything while we wait to figure out who our winner is going to be.
Let's do it.
Let's
so excited.
do it. So welcome to tea time. This is our little tea time area. We have real chairs, like real people today. Love that for us. So let's settle on in and get going. So, let's begin at the end because normally we have opening statements, but not this time. Players got into the questions. So we'll just kind of get into the conclusion and then kind of work back from there. So yeah, we saw a lot of emotion from Melissa. Really impassioned plea. I loved that she kind of made the jurors both laugh and cry. It's always a good sign when you can do that. I think Ned might have pointed that out. But yeah, it was. Sorry. But it was really great. And I know y'all were talking about how excellent an FTC that was, like in the comments, and I completely agree. I mean, two incredibly well-spoken players.
Absolutely.
I was so impressed. And speaking of laughing and crying, Culp had everyone laughing throughout this season, but was really able to like get pretty serious in the final tribal and kind of get down to business and really make his case known, and was just so, as I said, well spoken while he did it. I was
Absolutely.
super impressed.
No, I completely agree. I think both of them have really strong final tribals. Like, I think it's rare to have two people who were solid throughout, right? Like, I think both of them had pretty solid, like, it wasn't normally like peaks and valleys. It was literally both of them were like going up, and both of their final speeches were like a culmination of everything that they had said. I think where we saw Melissa go for like a little bit more of an emotional route, similar to myself last year.
That's what I thought
at
of
the
as
end.
well.
Yeah, I was like, oh, here we go. Let's see if it works twice. I think Culp talked a lot about the season's theme throughout the whole thing, which I thought was really interesting. How he continued to talk about like the predators and the prey and all that, and I think that's also really interesting. And he was very logical about his answers and his final speech. Like, I think Culp didn't have a lot of that emotional side. He was more in that logical, like, hey, this is why I deserve this. This is what I have done and stuff like that, which was a little bit of a different approach, I think. But both of them were great.
No, I agree. And I love that. So early on, Melissa was asked, actually they were both asked a couple questions about jury management. Brian had an interesting thing with the fingers and being like, it to me, it was less jury management and more like, whose vote do you have on the jury? And obviously not all of them were correct, because a lot of times they were pointing at themselves. And that can't be true. And then Brianna's question about jury management as well. And we heard, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. That's not quite what I want to say. Anyway, basically what I wanted to say is Melissa was asked a question about kind of like big moves or things she did in the game. And at first she just was like, oh yeah, no, I did stuff. Like I sprinkled things. And I was like, oh, Melissa, like I want to hear about like what you were sprinkling with your little magic fairy dust on the field. And I was so glad that she finally was able to be a little bit more specific with that near the end of Tribal, when she was talking about painting Brianna's threat level in a big way over multiple rounds.
And I feel like that was intentional for Melissa, because like I think throughout the game, right, we have seen her be like hints and hints and hints, and eventually like comes out. Right?
Oh my god, was she playing us at the final tribal council too? Was she still giving like was she still playing like underdog muted, like here's some breadcrumbs and like I know I'm gonna say something and you're gonna have like this like moment, which Bergen actually did. I heard him at one point tell Culp like you lost my vote. So I don't know if that was theatrical or true, but it was certainly something. Oh yeah, no, it was a time. But going back to what you said about them, kind of being this loyal pair that played together amongst these predators, it was really impressive. I know in an earlier round, Culp referred to Melissa as his queen, and he felt like he was her king. And so they're just sitting up there as Can You Survive royalty right now, wanting to see who's going to truly get the crown, which we will find out in a few moments.
Absolutely. I think the jury did a really good job. I feel like they tackled so many things throughout the questions.
Yeah.
Both Culp and Melissa were able to like snap instantly, right? Like I didn't see a lot of weak moments from either of them.
No, I mean it wasn't. I was like, I would like tear a parchment in half and be like, Culp and Melissa, like, here you go. Because wow, although Culp did really super kind of endorse Melissa at the end there, used some of his last few words and impressions to the jury to actually pump up Melissa and her game, which is a unique approach. I think it's really cool that as two close allies, they both really chose to be respectful of each other. You could see it kind of even in the answering the questions order. They would kind of turn to each other and be like, hey, like, I can take this one.
Yeah,
Like, do you
yeah.
want that one? It was a very
respectful
and congenial final tribal. And so you could tell they literally have been working together since day one, since like the tangram puzzle where they were like at the station for 2 hours in the dark and had a lot of time to chit chat and like give their first impressions about the amazing race and about people. And so it was cool that Melissa referred to herself as a shark, like lying in wait, and I think they both were kind of like sharkily doing their things and just waiting. And speaking of being a shark and Culp's like apex predator and like predator prey thing, it's pretty fun because Culp, not that he had this underdog story, but like kind of, because he was the last green standing for a super long time. Bergen and Tyler being the first two members of the jury, and then he was the only original Machias for the rest of the game. Constantly kind of either in the middle or on the bottom and didn't have that guaranteed people, and actually also had to spend the night in the hunting grounds completely by himself. So I was super impressed with his ability to kind of recover from that. I think a lot of lesser players might have just been like out of luck. But he obviously is such a personality and really got along with so much of the cast that he was able to kind of seamlessly integrate. And he had formed that super tight connection with Bergen and Tyler to the point where they weren't going to let anything happen to him. And then
yeah, and I think that was really interesting in Bergen's question how he answered about like, oh well, I felt that it was good for me to kind of like detach myself to you to be able to make it this far and talk about like the whole thing, like going to the hunting grounds and everything like that. I think Culp made a really good case for why he needed to make the moves that he needed to make.
Yeah.
And I really respect the fact that he talked about wanting to go against the best, right? Like I thought that was a really, like if I was a juror, I would respect that a lot. Instead of like, I don't think Taylor had been like an easier beat personally, but I think being like, I thought Melissa was my strongest opponent. I wanted to go against the strongest, and I think that's going to carry.
And I think, again, Culp being with her the whole time, he knows what she's done. Like, he's aware of her game. And so knowing that is very interesting. And I think, so appropriate given that he kept talking about the theme of the season and we keep talking about who is going to be the apex predator and come out on top. And what a phenomenal jury. Melissa and Culp both talked about, like, these were players. If you guys have been tuning in all season long, you know that this game was completely insane. All of these players were playing so hard, laser focused, everyone wanted it, and they were all incredible. So I think whoever pulls this out, I'm gonna be so happy for. Like, that was like a masterclass in Final Tribal. Like, truly, I was just blown away. So let's head on back to Final Tribal because we are now moments away from finding out who's going to win.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
It's so good.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
Of course. Thanks for joining Tea Time. And thank all of you. It's been so fun to get to hang out with y'all all season long. So for the final time, let's head on over to Tribal Council. And instead, I get to be like all smiley and happy instead of serious and like giving some final words. Yeah. All right. Ooh, I'm getting nervous.
I know, me too.
All right, we are back at Final Tribal Council with Melissa and Culp.
Jessica, Butters, love you. I'll call you as soon as I
Everybody, I know I have a bunch of people watching. I don't want to forget them. So I love you guys, and I did it.
a final two.
For the last time this season, I will go tally the votes.
All right. Vibes are high here at Can You Survive Final Tribal Council. Our final two are getting cozy and awaiting the return of the votes. With some wolf howls in the background.
That's why I was laughing so much.
Don't want to hear this song ever again.
You should have been there season 1 when we had like a 10-hour drum
Reminds me of
thing. It was just that's all it was.
but it never shut off.
All right, and in comes our host, Alan, with the votes.
What a game it's been. Before I get to these votes, we have a very special thank you. Brandon, thank you so much for this game.
He hates this.
Thank you for creating this for all. On to the players. Thank you, everybody, for playing. We do this for you guys. Thank you for taking the time out of your days, your busy schedules, and your lives to come and do this crazy stuff that we. So, what do you think? Should we find out who our winner is?
Yeah!
I'll get to the vote. First vote, Melissa. Second vote, Cole. Melissa. 2 votes, Melissa. 1 vote, Cole. Melissa. That's 3 votes, Melissa. Melissa. That is 4 votes, Melissa. The winner of Can You Survive Hunter's Moon, Melissa.
Thank you.
What a phenomenal season
Congratulations,
we
Melissa,
had.
our winner of Can You Survive Hunter's Moon. Jury, coming on in. Okay, we're back. Hi, sorry about that. Classic this. At least we got to see the winner. Hugs all around. All right.
Shall we go do our talk?
We shall. All right, come on, viewers. Let's come hang out with me and Brandon. Wow, what an incredible season.
So much
And
fun.
an incredible winner.
Yes.
I
It was
mean,
incredible final
insane.
tribal council performance from both of them.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
Melissa was such a great player from start to finish. She's a great
Yeah.
addition to the winner's circle
Hell yeah,
for
she
CYS.
is. Yeah. Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
We did it.
We did it again.
All right, so that's a wrap for us for Can You Survive Hunter's Moon as well as 2024. We will be coming back to you in 2025.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. And I think we should go celebrate.
Yeah.
What do you
We'll
think?
see you next year.
See you next year, everyone.
Bye.